What is up, Honey Badger Nation? This is John Kitchens, and this is episode 108 of Expert Mentors Live. I am very excited for today's episode as I get to hang with you guys. We're going to dive into HLAs and calendar. And for those of you listening in that may not know, Expert Mentors Live is really just an opportunity to be able to tap into the horsepower of the Honey Badger Nation. As most of you know, there are so many talented people in this community, and so many of these talented people just want to give back. It allows us to leverage the power of this group for all of our benefit with live weekly trainings provided by some of the top agents, professionals on the planet. And so these calls are at noon Central every Wednesday. Add it to your calendar. We've kind of changed it up a little bit here. We're going live in the Facebook group with these trainings. So they're in the feed. They're there, but also we'll have the replays available for you guys. So we encourage you guys to leverage these trainings for your agent attraction efforts, and also for your team's training as well. So. Cool. Well, I'm going to dive in because I've got a lot of stuff packed in here for you guys, and I really, my whole goal objective is to just bring as much value to you guys today as possible as it relates to HLAs in the calendar. So we're gonna dive right in and. Obviously, if you guys have any questions or comments, throw it into the feed. And at the end, we'll circle back around. If you guys need anything clarified, anything else that I can get for you guys, we'll do it at that time. But I am going to jump right in. Let me clean this up. All right. So cool. Well, here we go. HLAs and calendar. And really the goal for today's episode for you guys is really just to give you some clarity to help you maximize your productivity so you guys can explode your profits. And if you're leading an organization, you're leading a team, your objective, your goal is to get your team productive, right? So what better way to lead by example is getting ourselves productive first so we can, help others be productive as well. And if all else fails, you guys will be walking out of this session confidently and, with the $1 billion strut and looking like Mr. McGregor. And if not, you can at least be as happy as this guy after just completing second Ironman here last November. So wife thinks I'm absolutely crazy to have that big of a smile on my face after just finishing up a long day in the water and on the bike and in the run. So for those of you guys don't know, for me, this summarizes a lot. It's kind of the ideal situation, perfect day there on the beautiful beaches in St. Thomas, looking out back over to the islands towards BVI, and obviously hanging there with the one and only Miss Holly. So that definitely sums up a lot right there in that picture. But for those of you guys that don't know, college dropout. Left for California, moved back to Oklahoma, worked construction with a couple high school buddies, and it was a pretty cool experience. Was on board with them, just serial entrepreneurs, take 4 ideas to execution, to business, to profitability, to sold. So it's pretty cool being on the operational side of that to kind of go through that process, not only one time but 4 times in a pretty short period of time. And after our fourth little flip venture, we decided it'd be a good idea to start a bar. And if any of you think that you want to start a bar, let's have a conversation before you jump in and do that. And that was the same year that we started the bar. Was the same year I was introduced to Kinder, and it was the reason because I was out of the bar. The connector is Michael Reese. Back to those Cameron University college days. Michael and I were first roommates together, coming out of high school, going into college. And Michael was the connector. He connected me and Kinder together in October of '04. And what a journey it's been. So over the last really 15 plus years, on the real estate side, been a part of, helping kind of grow and scale two separate 7-figure real estate businesses, really, put the systems and processes and structure to really allow you to be able to grow at that level. Over the last 9 years, I've had the opportunity to personally coach over 500 top performing real estate professionals. And I updated that number last night. I've had a few more, coaching calls this morning. So that number's changed, but a little over 11,100 one-on-one sessions, resulting obviously in helping agents explode their business, and the opportunity to speak, 5,000 plus North America, grow their business. Had the opportunity to work with some pretty awesome individuals, some honey badgers here in the group that you guys know all about. So have had the opportunity to help them, not only, transform their businesses, but also help transform their lives, plus hundreds of others. So here's the agenda for today. What are your highest leveraged activities? How much time should you spend on your high leveraged activities? We're gonna, if you're not familiar with it, we're gonna talk about the productivity pyramid. We're gonna look at the ideal week, and then one thing that will dramatically impact your productivity. So after this presentation, if you guys have any questions, if you want to dive a little bit deeper, if you want to jump on a call, do kind of a calendar assessment with you guys, feel free to do that. And also we'll open it up for some questions. All right, so HLAs and calendar. So let's talk about what the heck is an HLA. HLAs are high leveraged activities. So this is kind of the breakdown from, who really introduced us to HLAs, Mr. Tony Jerry. And it's like, no single skill or habit has a more powerful impact on results than the ability to eliminate distractions and focus on the high leveraged activities that have the greatest potential to advance your strategic goals and objectives. All right, I threw a little pro tip in here with the man, Mr. Tiger. So anytime you guys see this, hone in, because this is really going to be a key nugget, a key takeaway that's going to help you get clear on those HLAs, as well as dialing in the calendar. Remember, to maximize productivity. That's what drives our profits. So HLAs, we must determine which tasks will move us toward our goals, which are the building blocks of our vision, and what resources we have. So the Rights of Medicine Administration Creed for nurses, the mantra is the right dose of the right drug for the right patient at the right time. That's our HLAs. As a leader, we must evaluate each task's potential leverage. We have to weigh the return against the investment of resources required for each. HLAs are those actions that will result in the most valuable outcomes and advance our vision faster. HLAs provide a common language for motivation and communication. They get us the results we need faster with less expenditure of time, money, energy, and talent. So what's the opposite? Low leveraged activities. Okay. So think about that. Low leveraged activities consume resources and drive results a lot slower. Okay. And, it's really unrealistic to think we can work 100% of our time in our HLAs. Okay. Here's another pro tip. So pay attention, because this next slide is going to be really important in the time allocation. The goal is to invest the bulk of our time, 70+%. That's the number. It's a math equation, right? Just like Mr. Chuck Fazio's shirt on the last a couple episodes ago is just hashtag, it's just math. Well, when we're determining allocation of time, it's just math. 70% of our time on HLAs, both personally and professionally. The thing to think about is, what percentage of your time do you and your team spend on high leveraged activities? Okay. I want you guys to write that question down. I want you to think about it. What percentage of your time do you and your team spend in high leveraged activities? Then think about, what percentage of your time do you and your team spend in low leveraged activities, right? And we're gonna break down what those HLAs are as it pertains to the real estate space in just a second. So working in HLAs is a mindset that creates clarity of what is important. It supports a culture focused on productivity, right? Understand, all productivity is accomplishing results, okay? It's the difference between being busy and being productive. If we're not getting the results we're after, we're not being productive, okay? That's a huge distinction that you guys have to understand. And what we want to do is we want to create that culture that we're focused on getting results. And that's your job as a leader, guys, is to get results. Make sure you're getting the results and make sure your team is getting the results, and have that culture focused on that productivity. So here's a few examples of high leveraged activities. Coaching and nourishing our team members, impacting those that we serve, planning our day, sharpening our skills and learning. Here are a few examples of low leveraged activities. Wasted meeting time based on poor preparation. Activities that, our team, people, things that we can delegate to should be doing. Chasing down things due to lack of organization. Unnecessary paperwork. Wasted conversations. Wasted calls. Here are some examples, and this is really what it boils down to. There's only a handful of things that really matter in this business, guys, okay? And we've got the top 5. It's really 5. This is really it. This is what I would look at and say, hey, are we spending 70% of our working time on these activities? If not, then the answer is no, and we're not getting the results that we could and the results that we should for the allocation of our time. So number 1 is lead generation and prospecting. Lead gen, prospect. Number 1. 2 is the conversion to be able to get them to our prospects, to get to face-to-face, to get to an appointment. Okay. 3 is pitching our offer and converting them to actual business. Okay. Now, it's either pitching your offer to sellers, pitching your offer to buyers, or if you're growing your team organization, pitching your offer to other agents to grow your team, to grow your organization. 4 is going to be showing properties if you're working with buyers, and then negotiating deals. Okay. And, we've even proven, if you're not working buyers, that can even be delegated, even if you are working buyers. And then, we've even pushed off negotiating deals. We've even, given that to a responsibility of somebody else, to where we're just spending, 70% of our working time on those top 3 things. And actually, can get into face-to-face and then also working on, sales and marketing activities. So these are the top 5 HLAs in the real estate space. If you're not spending 70% of your time on these activities, you're not getting the results that you could be. As we grow our teams and our organizations, then coaching and leadership become part of our HLAs. Okay. And so those things come in. And go back to, the right medicine at the right time, right? And so what we have to ask ourselves, based upon the season of our business, what is the best use of your time right now? Okay. And it changes, it evolves. Okay. So we have to look high leverage activities, personally and professionally. All right. Here's our man Tiger. So we can know we got another pro tip coming up. This is the productivity pyramid. All right. So let's walk through this. So we're going to start with the actual pyramid in the four different quadrants, the 4 different boxes. Okay. And the top box is our high lifetime value activities. Okay. And those activities are, I go back to the Miracle Morning with Hal Elrod. If you guys haven't picked up a copy of that or picked up a copy of that in quite some time, it would really be worth revisiting. Okay. And because the foundation of Hal's savers, right? The silence, the affirmation, the visualization, the exercise, the reading, the scribing, those 6 key core activities, habits, are the foundational building block of a great life, right? If you adopted those 6 things into your life would change exponentially. And so adopting those types of activities, nurturing and deepening of relationships, spending time with the people that, you absolutely love, friends, family, kiddos, those bundled together are really what make up our high lifetime value activities. The next box in the productivity pyramid is the high dollar value activities. Those are your HLAs, okay? Those are your MVPs, working on your most valuable priorities. What are those key things? They fall in that bucket. The bottom bucket is the low dollar value activities, the things that we need to be getting off of our plate, right? The things that are slowing us down, the low leveraged activities, okay? And then the bottom is really just low lifetime, which is really just the exact opposite of everything in the high lifetime value bucket. It's not doing any of the savers. It's not deepening of relationships. It's not taking care of yourself, right? It's just poor habits. Those are all that fall in that portion of that bucket. Now, where this thing really explodes for us is over here in our talents and strengths circles. And to really step back and look at what are we just like naturally talented at, right? What is just like, man, I am, this just comes natural to me, right? It's just like in my zone, in my, like, I don't even have to, it's not even like working. It's just comes out of me. It's just my DNA. It's who I am. What am I really talented at? And then you look at, okay, well, what are my strengths? Like, what am I really, really good at? And then the exact opposite, having that awareness of what do I suck at, right? What do I suck at? And so, if you're struggling with trying to figure that out, ask somebody, turn to a colleague, turn to a friend, turn to a family member. It's like, hey, like, I'm really trying to figure this out. Like, what am I really good at? Right? What do you think just comes naturally to me? And hey, help me out here. What do I suck at? And so when we have our list of our strengths and our talents and they overlay, there's only going to be 1 or 2 things that come together. Now, whatever those 1 or 2 things are, just imagine if we were able to lay that over the top 2 components of the pyramid, and we were able to spend and live our life in those 1 or 2 activities. What do you think your life would look like? What do you think your bank account would look like? Okay. So this is a little bit of self-reflection, a little bit of work to maximize your productivity. What are you really good at and what do you love? Okay. What comes natural, and how can we overlay those things into high lifetime value and high dollar value activities? So it's a great exercise. It just helps, segment out things so we know to look at things in a way to where we know we're spending time on the things that absolutely matter. Okay. So inside the real estate space, this is our 9 box. Okay. And the 9 box, what we have done is that we really broke down the functions, okay, inside of the real estate model. Okay. These are the key functions that as a solo agent, we do all of these. And you start to wonder why there's not much time at the end of the day. But as we start to grow and we move up the stages in the real estate business, as we continue to grow, then, certain functions we start to need to shed off of our plate, right? That's where we start making, key hires, bringing other people in, creating the leverage, giving us more time to really allocate to the high leverage activities. And so what we've determined is the highest of value and the highest skill. There's nothing in this business that will pay you more per hour than focusing in on listings. And as we're recording this right now live with you guys, we know the power of having listings, right? And if you don't have listings and you're only working with buyers, how many multiple buyer situations have you been in? How many have you lost out? How much time are you wasting? Instead of what would your time look like if you had those listings and you weren't the one just writing contract after contract after contract and losing out. So the highest leverage use of your time is focusing in on listings. Next would be the buyers. Closing coordinator, that's the number one thing we talk about, getting off of your plate. You can do a virtual TC to where it's a variable expense. It's not a fixed cost until you're in a good position to where you have the money and you can make that key hire, right? That can help with the administrative duties, receptionist duties, courier duties, listing coordinator duties, things like that, right? To free you up to where you can spend as much time on listings that you possibly can, right? Go back to the HLAs, lead gen, prospecting, converting, sellers to sellers appointments, getting sellers to work with you, and then negotiating when we get contracts in on the listing focused. That's how you maximize your productivity in this business. And otherwise, we're on this little roller coaster, right? We all know about the little real estate roller coaster. We have a great month of sales, but our activity to get those results is not there. And then, our red line, our sales dip, but then we get back on the hamster wheel and we're really good there. So the important thing, guys, to maximize productivity is about being consistent, disciplined to the activities that drive the results, the HLAs, being disciplined to them and being consistent. That's how we straighten this out. We get off the roller coaster and, we grow as our cash allows us to grow. And whatever it is, guys, whatever the most important factor in your business success given at this time, your allotment of time must reflect that. Okay. And, either you run the day or the day runs you. It's your choice. Ideal week. Okay. So we've all heard, the ideal day, and the thing as it is, guys, is that, the week has so many ebbs and flows. So it's more about laying out the ideal week than trying to nail the ideal day. Okay. And this is what you have to commit to. I am willing to create the life I desire, right? It's based upon what it is that you want to accomplish and how can we design it that way. All right, here's Tiger. So let's pay attention and jump into the next pro tip. 168 hours. All right, so the 168 hours is really the ideal week. And understanding that you, me, the top performers in this group, this organization, Sir Richard Branson, Elon Musk, we all have 168. We all have 168 hours in a given week. Every week we have 100. We all have the same. So how do we maximize the same amount of time to get the results that we want? Here's what I want you guys to write down. Okay. 168. I want you to write 168. And I want you to go ahead and subtract 68. Really, because that's the amount of sleep, maintenance, taking care of ourselves that fall into about the time allocation every week. For some, it may be a little more. For For some, it may be less, but for this example, I want you guys to look at it as just we have 100 hours to allocate to all the equities of our life. I like health, wealth, and relationships. 3. It's simple, right? I like simple. So health, wealth, and relationships. So how am I going to allocate the remaining 100 to those buckets? Well, this is why you do this every week, because every week is different. But let's, for example, say this week, you're going to allocate 50 hours. 50 hours to work, 50 hours to the other equities of your life, okay? Out of those 50 hours, remember, it's just math, 70%, right? What are we striving for with our HLAs? 70% would mean 35 hours have got to be allocated in the calendar to the high leveraged activities, okay? Getting your high leveraged activities need to be 70%. It's just math. If it's 50 hours this week, then it's 35. You know, if you're only going to be able to work 10 hours this week, 7 hours, 70% better be on high leveraged activities. Hopefully you guys understand how that works. Okay. That's the ebb and flow. And that's why you look at it week over week over week. You don't try to nail the day. You try to nail the week. We need time for our high lifetime value activities. We need time for physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, and relationships. These are essential for our success. And here's where people get tripped up. They don't prioritize these first. These are the things that get prioritized first. These things go in the calendar first to ensure we win the week. Okay? Work expands to the time allotted for it. Period. If you give an hour for something that could only take 15 minutes, guess what? You'll use the whole hour. It's just the way it works. So work contracts based on the boundaries we defined. Choose a firm end time for our workday and work week. When are you starting? When are you stopping? You've got to put the boundaries in, guys. If you really want to maximize not only your business, but maximize your life. And here's the thing. We have more control than what we think. Remember, this is a creative world. It's not, we don't have to live by what we think it is. It's whatever we want it to be. And even if we don't control 100% of our time, we can choose to maximize the time we do control. 100%. And here's the thing. Progress is the goal, not perfection. Perfection paralyzes. Okay? Perfection is the disease. It's about making progress. 87% is good enough. Okay? It doesn't have to be 100%. Progress over perfection. And here's where we start. Okay? When you're looking at the week and you're looking at your calendar, this is what goes in first. These are your high lifetime value activities. We call these our non-negotiables. These are non-negotiable. They are going in the calendar, and it's not negotiable. It's not up for debate. So when does work start and when does work stop? When are we spending time with family? When are we having family time? Do we have a set family night, family dinner, no technology, just connecting? When are we scheduling our fitness? Okay. And we've put in recovery, sleep to renew, to recharge the physical, which drives everything. Date night. Date night is non-negotiable. I always joke with the fellas, if you're not dating, your wife, somebody else will. You got to get it in there. It's non-negotiable. You need to get some thinking time in there. You need to get some you time, jam sessions. When are you just able to just silence? When are you able to think? It allows us to be proactive and not just fall victim to being reactive. That's your choice. And then the savers, right, that we talked about, the silence, the affirmation, visualization, exercise, reading, scribing. Okay? Those are on all non-negotiables, and they go in your calendar first. Second, we fill our calendars with our high leveraged activities and our MVPs. People and profit in our business and personal lives. The big rocks first, your priorities, okay? Where am I moving the needle on profit? That's the question. What are my activities that are going to drive profit in my business and profit in my life? Third, we fill everything else. This includes our meeting rhythm. And here's what you will find. Here's what you'll find is that there's not much time for anything else. And this is good because there's this thing called the old force of distraction. It's real. There's studies out there that say distraction takes 20 to 30 hours of our time every week. Now, remember, a distraction is only a distraction as if we give attention to it. Okay. That's why we have to nail the calendar. It's a productivity tool. It's the number one productivity tool behind the word no. The word no is the number one productivity tool we have. But what are we going to say no to? What do we know to say no to if we don't know where our time, where we're willing to allocate and spend our time? Okay. So third, there's not going to be much, and that's a good thing, right? If you go back to the first and second things, what else do you really need to get in there? Okay. Yeah. We need some paperwork time. We need meeting time. We need to connect with our people. Got it. Okay. But as you'll see, that time disappears, and that's a good thing. Okay. Red flags. This is calendar triage. Red flags. These are things to look out for. Things are spilling over into our high lifetime value activities. Okay. Things are spilling over into those activities, right? We're not getting those things are not happening like they should. It's a red flag. Another red flag is start and stop routines keep getting pushed out. Okay. So we're starting earlier and we're stopping later. That's a red flag. Third, non-negotiables. They're not happening. Date night's not happening. Family night's not happening. The non-negotiables just aren't happening. It's a red flag. And then the other red flag is our high leveraged activities and our MVPs are not happening. Okay. So these are the things that we need to look out for. These are the red flags. This is when we need to come back and really triage the calendar. A couple questions to ask ourselves. Rate on a scale of 1 to 10 on the activities in your calendar. If it's not a 9 or 10, delete it, delegate it, or try to just get out of it. Okay? Just try to get out of it. And, we want to ask, man, can somebody else do this? And most of the time, the answer is yes. Can somebody else do this? And when we do need to get out of something, just be straight up, be honest, and just say, hey, man, I'm over committed. This doesn't align to our priorities and what we're trying to accomplish this quarter. Man, I'm sorry, but I'm going to have to cancel. Maybe we can revisit next quarter. Just be straight up with them. Okay. Here are some questions. What are your HLAs? Okay. Given where you're at in your business, what are your HLAs? Where am I the most proficient and the most passionate? Where am I the most proficient? What am I really good at? And what do I love? And what are my MVPs, right? What are my priorities? What are my priorities? What are my top 3 priorities for this week? What are they? Well, you've got to go through the process of getting clear on what are your priorities in the first place. All right. It goes back to strategy. Personal priorities are clear and in the calendar. Your big 3 MVPs are in the calendar, and we let our priorities lead the schedule, right? Are the activities in our calendar aligned to the objective in what we're trying to accomplish strategically? Are they? Or are they not? If not, then we got to go back to, delete, delegate, or get out of. All right. Pro tip. Sunday planning. This concept has been the absolute biggest game changer for myself, for our family, and really adopted it, like committed full every week last January in 2019. And I think there were maybe four or five times in 2019 that we did not do Sunday planning for the week. And we felt it. We felt it for sure. And so Sunday planning is really about taking the time to sit down and kind of recalibrate for the week. Okay. Really recalibrate what's going on. Do a little autopsy on the week previous and go back and revisit. You know, my Sunday planner is real fancy. It's a yellow notepad. At the end of this presentation, I'll show you guys my Sunday planner. And, you know, on there, I have a couple key targets, right? Keeping those targets in front of mind. I've got a couple little reminders, you know, the most consistent, the most disciplined, you know, focusing on the process, not focused on the outcome, measuring the outcome, but not focused on it. You know, and then have the 4 big goals that pertain to business and personal. And what are those? And what are the activities that we need to keep driving as we're moving those to success, right? If you go through strategic planning, we are successful when. And so what is the success and by when? And so what are the action items that have to take place to make those things a success? On there, I've identified the top 3 MVPs and also capture my gotta minutes. And gotta minutes are things that don't take enough time to make the calendar, right? Hey, I need to, schedule a hair appointment. Hey, I need to schedule to get the truck in to get serviced. Hey, I need to, look at flight reservations. Hey, I need to book this hotel. Hey, I need to schedule, I need to, look at, whatever, right? I need to review this ad copy or whatever it is, right? Things that when a client cancels on you, that you can jump into and not get caught up in the force of distraction. See, when you know that there's things that you need to accomplish, and you know when you get a little break that you can jump right to that list, it's going to stop you from going down the social media rabbit hole, right? It's going to stop us from doing that. So it is really, really key to be able to do that. The other parts of Sunday planning incorporate meals. You know, what is the meal plan for this week? I don't know about you guys, but I don't want to get a text from Holly, at 4:30. Hey, what are we doing for dinner tonight? We've already taken the time and laid out what we're going to do for meals for this week. Training, still training for Ironman. So I have a set schedule of training. I already know what it is. It's in the calendar. I don't have to wake up in the morning or lay in bed at night. Man, what am I going to do tomorrow? Do I need to do something on the bike? Do I need to go run? What do I need to do? No, it's already done. It's already laid out because I took the time on Sunday to get clear on it with my coach, and it's all laid out. It's done. And same thing with the meals. Same thing too here, guys, with the kiddos being home, right? What does the meals, what does the time allocation with them need to look like for the week, right? Our little one is in karate. What's the karate schedule for the week? When we were, going through and it was school time, hey, this is what you're going to do for your school. You're going to self-sufficient. This is your agreement. This is what you're going to do. But it's all laid out because we took a couple hours on Sunday to get the entire family on the same page and get it dialed into the calendar. Sunday planning, if you adopt this one concept, will change the trajectory of the rest of this year and into next year and beyond, if it's something that you are willing to commit to. What also allows to have no white space in the calendar. And the reason, remember, is that we're fighting off the force of distraction. We're just trying to give us blocks of time to where we know we're really going to protect that time. One of the things that I'm actually in the process of working towards, remember, it's process, not perfection, is that set time in the morning that is, my time, right? That I usually use it for training, thinking time, quiet time, the silence piece of the savers, and then getting into a jam session, a good 90-minute jam session, working on my MVPs, okay? And then, getting into calls and meetings from like 11 till about 4 or 5, and then blocking time for email, and then family time. And so I'm like really working the calendar towards that progression. And if we have time, on this training, if you guys want to see it, I'll actually kind of pull up my calendar and give you guys kind of a visual of what that's kind of transforming towards. So no white space. Remember, we're fighting off the force of distraction. But when you get real structured with your calendar, okay, you've got to build in some buffer room. And I just call it flex space. And so in the beginning, when I was really running the real estate brokerage and really started coaching, you guys, especially in an in-office situation, you always have people popping by. They're always stopping in. And so when you're so rigid in your calendar, but you don't allow for things to kind of flex and move, you'll get really frustrated. And what tends to happen is that most people just give up on the calendar and they say it doesn't work. So we would always build buffer time into the calendar. And starting out, I put 30 minutes in the morning and 30 minutes in the afternoon, and it just said flex. And so if I was on track, if I was on pace, if I was on my time, then I would use it. And if I didn't need to kind of flex with it, I would use it for God a minute time. But inevitably you always get thrown off. And so I just knew it was going to be a matter of time that I was going to get interrupted. I was going to get thrown off. And then I would need to, use that time to get back on track. That's the whole point of it. And I started out 30 minutes in the morning, 30 minutes in the afternoon. Then it went 15 and 15. And today I don't have flex space. Just because, it's just something that I've been so disciplined to for so many years that, I just know how to deal with it without it. But what I would recommend starting out is that you build some buffer time in the morning and build some buffer time in the afternoon. It really is that key. This is for you guys. If you have somebody that has access to your calendar, okay, this is really, really important. And I know, a lot of the Schedule Once, the Calendly type of links, essentially, that you're throwing out there, you're giving access to your calendar to people. But what I would do is I would create some guidelines, some boundaries, some rules with your calendar. So for me, my rule of thumb was the 24-hour rule. And what that meant was that nobody could put anything in my calendar if it was less than 24 hours without my permission, either verbal or written permission, that could they add anything to the calendar. And the reason is that my mind is already working 24, 48 hours in advance. I'm already kind of thinking through, and I know when I have some open slots. And so maybe I have already promised that to some other activity or someone else, but I just haven't got it in the calendar yet. And so I just had that hard rule that you couldn't just schedule something on me last minute. I want to make sure able to be prepared. I want to make sure, able to, pour the most into that meeting as possible, or that conversation. So just create some boundaries. 24-hour rule was mine. It worked. Just wanted to share with you, if you have access, if somebody has access to your calendar, you better create some guidelines around it. You better put some boundaries, or it's going to get, abused, and, you're going to lose out on things that are maximizing your productivity. So flex space. Did I move closer to my outcomes? This is a great question. And, you know, we use Google Calendar. I've used Google Calendar ever since it was even possible to use Google and Google Calendar. And, you know, this is a question. So I go through and I print out, my calendar every day. And, you know, it's just a question that I like to write down on there. And it's just a reminder, did I move closer to my outcomes today or did I not? Right? That's the reflection with Sunday planning. Hey, did we move closer to our outcomes this week or did we not? If we didn't, what happened? And can we make sure that doesn't happen moving forward? It's just the autopsy on the week, autopsy on the day. And so just think, you know, asking this question, what if you were to ask that question like every hour? Did I move closer to my outcomes over this last hour or did I not? And I think it's just a good question to keep ourselves in check and making sure that we're operating at the highest, you know, possible productivity that we absolutely can. And, you know, the key is to get everything in the calendar, guys. If it doesn't make the calendar, it just doesn't happen. I don't know how many times we have to be reminded of this. If it doesn't happen, more than likely, it's because it didn't make its way into the calendar, period. So cool. So, man, I know I hit you guys with the fire hose there. So I'm going to just open this up here for any questions. If you guys have any questions, if you don't, cool. If you do, great. Would love to kind of open up with you guys any which way I can. So Kathy, absolutely. Yep. Learning to live by my calendar, man. It'll set you free. It gives you more time. And most people, when you come into our organization and working with us, like we instilled the calendar into you. And when we would do our morning huddles in the beginning, you had to print out and bring your calendar with you. And, it's just really incorporating that DNA into where you're able to, understand that it gives you more freedom than not. So that's awesome. Renee, Sunday planning. I know Renee has embraced it. She gave me the aha of really, you have to really get your family on board, even at a higher level and with the kiddos, right? And have the Sunday planning with them, especially this is, like when they're working from home, is key. So cool. So Bryant, hopefully you got that HLA, the high leverage activity. So we broke that down. 2 pressure cookers, planning meals keeps me healthy. I have sourdough starter feed, bread machine. That's awesome. Except 1 time a month or so. If you need help with the quick, healthy cooking ideas, reach out to me. Kathy, that's awesome. I'll tell you, we stumbled upon this app. This is like a game changer app. It's called Meal Line. MEALIME. It's that little green half little pear thing there. And it's Meal Line. But what you can do in Meal Line was you can go in and you set whatever diet, whatever it is that, meal plan, whatever base that you want to be on and what you want it to be. And then you can just click start your next meal. And there's a free version or a paid version. Paid version has some really cool recipes or whatever, but we just have the regular version. But you can just go through here based upon whatever, and you can just scroll and you can hit meals that you maybe want to have for the week. And then you can download all of the ingredients to make those meals. And they have a cool feature here that you can submit it to, like if you use Kroger ClickList, right? Or Walmart that has the delivery or whatever you use for wherever you shop for groceries, it'll work. It's awesome. So Meal Line has been great when you're trying to figure out, healthy meals and whatever. It's a cool app. Like I said, get the free version. They have a paid version, but I haven't used the paid, and it's a game changer. It really is. So that's awesome. And yeah, it's fantastic. Write it down. You're more likely to accomplish that task or goal if it's written down 100%. So here's my fancy Sunday planner. As you guys can see, that's it. It just has those quadrants and, pull from here and just week over week, just flip it over. So go back and kind of look and reflect, especially when you're kind of going through quarterly plans and updates, which all of you guys should be clear on your priorities right now, for sure. Aaron, absolutely, man. Well, the replay will be here, so you can just go back and watch the replay and just pause it. As soon as I get it downloaded, I'll send that to you, so you guys have that. Any other questions? I think, the other thing to maybe think about, I want to pull up, let's see. So the thing on the calendar, remember, it's progress, not perfection. And this is really where kind of moving towards, and using the color codes. So like for me, those daily rituals, the training usually starts about 6 a.m. And then I try to go to about 8:30. Sometimes I can't, other calls and obligations, and then get into a jam time session from like 8:30 to like 11. And then calls and meetings from 11 to 5. And obviously if I need to go a little bit later, cool, go a little bit later. So you guys can look through there. And then you can get into, for me, then it's emails. And I'll show, let me just show this. So I'll give you guys some context. Hopefully this is helpful. Giving you guys kind of an idea. So here's a copy of my calendar. This is this week. And you can see where, at the top, I have, all of my training sessions. They're already done. I already know what they are. I don't have to think about it. And then you can see the daily rituals. And, really starting to try to incorporate. And remember, like I said, it's progress, not perfection. And as things are coming off and other obligations are coming off, then those will go in the calendar. So, that is the purple, which is the calls and the meetings. So that's when I'm trying to get all of my obligations, all of my calls. And so like for you guys in real estate space, that's where your appointments, you would want to try to push your appointments in a set time. The most productive that when we were cranking at the highest, what we did is we worked on the business in the morning and we worked in the business in the afternoon. Our job was to make sure that this is when Kinder was in production. Our job was to make sure that, at 1, 3, 5, and possibly 7, Monday through Friday was to be on appointments, but it was blocked already in there. Okay. It was already blocked in there. And I think that's where you guys want to get. That way you are you're being proactive instead of reactive. And if you already have those times in the calendar, then you already have it. So I use color codes. Red is non-negotiable. Those things can't be moved. And if something's over it, then that's got to be moved. We do a lot of, the financial on the Friday stuff. I've been trying to block my Friday as much as I can, just an untouchable day unless I want it to be in there. And then, so it's kind of the gist and the flow of the calendar. So hopefully that was helpful for you guys. I know, let's see, Aaron had another question. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. Just wanted to give you guys a lot of things to be able to focus on that, on your productivity at the highest of levels. So on Sundays, do you adjust, move your blocks based on what is coming up for the week in regards to kid schedule, family, or do you try to keep it as standard as possible? Man, ebb and flow. That's why it's 168. That's why you look at it week over week, because it changes, right? So like if you saw like this week, I was out Monday and Tuesday. So that meant I had to collapse, usually calls that, and obligations and appointments on Monday and Tuesday had to go in Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Well, Friday's the 3rd. Not many people want to do anything Friday afternoon. So you kind of juggle based on what the week is throwing at you. That's why you want to look at it week over week, 168, because it changes. Now, like I said, progress, not perfection. I'm trying to get all of my calls and meetings from 11 to 5, Monday through Thursday. It's not there, but I'm working towards it. And I think that's one of the biggest things is that, you kind of set, and then it transforms over time, but you're really, really aware of it. So just, obviously there's some things that are standard, Aaron, you have set things, set already things in the calendar. And so, it's just like today, right? Jeff and I have got into a rhythm to where we record Growth Guys podcast every Wednesday at 4:30. So that's kind of one of those set things that are in the calendar, and sometimes we'll move around it. So a better thing to think about, Aaron, is, just go through the process, right? Go through, get all of your high lifetime value activities when your start stop, and then your MVPs and your HLAs, right? So if you do it correctly, if you go and you put all of the high lifetime value activities in first, and the savers and all those things first, then you backfill. So if you've got family obligations this week, those go in first. Then you backfill with your HLAs and your MVPs. And then whatever's left gets put in for meetings, trainings, whatever else, paperwork, things like that. So if you just follow that process, that flushes itself out. But you got to do it week over week. Kathy, I feel like my calendar is like the long conveyor belt we ride at the airports to get from one place to the other. That's something on my calendar. So I'm going to go back to that day. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's a hard one. That's just letting go. It really is. It's letting go and not beating yourself up over it. It takes a little bit of time. I think the biggest thing that you can do is try to reschedule it. If you missed it, you got over it. If it's part of, if it's part of your MVPs or your HLAs, whatever, try to reschedule it. That's my focus. That's my recommendation. That's what I always try to do, because there'll be times where, something will happen. Life happens and you get sucked away from it. So the biggest thing that I can say is that if you pass up one of those things, if your calendar, if you don't just try to reschedule it. That's the biggest thing, is just try to reschedule it. And, if you miss some of those high lifetime value activities, if you miss something on the savers, don't beat yourself up. Just try to get back on track the next day. It's all about, being able to make it a habit. I started using this cool little app. It's called Strides. And, the top things that I want to stay consistent with every day. The free version allows you to have 6, and every day I just go in there and make sure I do those 6 things, right? So like sleep, exercise, meditate, deep work, which is focus time on my MVPs. So MVP work, a fitness push, and 100 ounces of water, right? So you've seen, 75 hard or whatever, you got the certain things you need to do every day. So for me, these are my 75 hard, but this is, every day. It's not just for 75 days. So these are the things. And so I monitor, and you can set parameters, like sleep, trying to hit an average, and you just keep track of it, and it'll keep track of your average. It's pretty cool. Pretty cool little app, Aaron. Yeah, it is, man. It's awesome. And it's just that constant reminder. So like if you're struggling with making prospecting or making contact, like if you have a contact target, maybe that can be one of your daily targets, right? Hey, I need to have 10 new conversations today. Well, you need to measure that. You need to hold yourself accountable to it. So fantastic. Well, cool. Well, you guys have, we'll have go back. This is live here in the Facebook group. You can go back and, rewatch it. I know there was a lot, like Aaron was saying. I'll have the link available. If you want to have the link, if you want to share it, more than welcome to. So we'll get that loaded in, and as soon as it downloads, and you guys can have it. And if you need anything else, have any questions, you want a deeper dive, let me know, and we're here to help. Appreciate you guys, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.